Hello, and welcome to the Bear Experiment podcast. Today I have a lovely country music special guest. Her name is Bailey Dixon, and she's here with her manager, Ramsey Petersson, who's been on the show before. We're so excited to have you both here today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you.
So, Ramsey has been speaking to me about you forever. Now she's so excited about your music and everything that you're bringing to the country music. You're so young, you're so beautiful, you're so talented. She's only spoken wonders about you and what you're going to do in this genre of music. So I'm very excited to have you on the show. So Bailey is only 21 years old. She's a baby. She's from Donaldsonville, Georgia. She's a singer and a songwriter. And she basically started memorizing all of her music before she can even read or write.
It's crazy. So like for some people, like you pick a sport, that's the thing that you click with. For some reason, mine was screaming terrible song lyrics so many times. I remembered them without even being able to write them down. So you can only imagine when I was able to write what I spent the majority of my time doing. Now that I could put the pen to paper.
So you had a lot of stage fright also when you were really young, right? That was just an issue that you were always having.
Oh, it was extremely bad. So nowadays, like I can step on a stage and it doesn't really matter who's there. Like I know what I'm there for and I'm going to do my thing. Back in the day, oh no, my grandparents would try to get me to sing at church. People would try to get me to sing at festivals, and I was not having it. I simply was not. So I had made it a point every day where I would go out and I would write and I would sing my songs and I would brush my horses down. So they got a little concert, and over time it helped me to kind of weed out all the shyness, and that kind of paved the way for all of the chaos you see today.
Well, we're going to backtrack a little bit here because I am a horse fanatic, and you have to tell me, how many horses did you have growing up?
We had 38.
38 horses?
And 16 mule that we took care of. Yes, every day.
They were in your farm?
Yes. I grew up on a quail hunting plantation in southwest Georgia, and so horses and mule-drawn wagons were kind of a big thing for us.
Oh, that's amazing. So they were your audience? You were
they
literally
were.
Singing
They were.
As a little girl. I'm envisioning you right now singing to a herd of horses, and this is how you overcame your stage fright. What a wonderful story.
Boots. And the best part is they couldn't go anywhere. So, like, if it was that bad, there's not too many options. Unless they can run real fast and jump real high, there's not many options.
That's great. That's a wonderful story.
But
I love
over
that.
time, they would come up. Like, when I would get there, they would go ahead and associate me over the years with singing.
Yeah.
So I would walk out and my dad would be like, yeah, you're not going to be able to get a lead rope around that one. It's not going to happen. And I'd be like, Dad, give me 5 minutes and a lead rope. And I remember this one time I went out there and Dad was like, yeah, if you think you're Snow White, like go be Snow White. And I'm like, okay, I'll go be Snow White. And so he's cracking his jokes at the fence, and my brothers are over here like, oh, you're crazy. And I get out there and I start singing, and here we go. And I got not one, not two, but 3 horses that day, and I brought them back to Dad. And he was so mad because he had been trying to get one, and it was just being stubborn, and I just went out there and started singing. So I thought that was super funny.
That's great. And so you overcame a lot of your stage fright then singing to the horses. Did anybody else in your family sing, or were you the only singer?
My mom actually had a record deal and turned it down when she was younger, and I found that out a little later in my life. But my family's very musical. Even my Uncle Patrick Boyd, he made a lot of music, and he went on to actually have one of, I believe it's on the Carnival Cruise Line, a piano lounge named after him.
Okay.
So he actually passed on, but he was one of my biggest inspirations as a kid, Patrick Boyd.
Where did you first start performing? It was in Ramsey was explaining to me that where you started gathering people, audiences, was in your church, in your local church, in your hometown of Georgia.
Yeah, so a little tiny church, Lake Seminole Baptist. It grew exponentially over the years, but that was where I got my start. And so they would have little church specials and stuff, and my grandma would be like, you should sing, and I was like, okay, we'll test the waters. A few times it was more so a, hey, you're singing this week,
Right.
you know, because it being such a small community, there's not really too many people to bring diversity. And so if they find out that you can sing or that you have, you know, any kind of musical talent like that, they're like, oh, hey, you're going to do this. And I can't complain at all, because, you know, it all had its place and I would do it again. But at first, I feel like it's a very special way to start, because what better place than with people who you know are going to be understanding, you know, and be there
Right.
and give you honest feedback.
Yes,
too.
absolutely. And how many years did you do that for? How long were you performing in the church?
I actually was the church youth group's choir leader for the bigger church, and I still sing at churches sometimes. So it's just something that I kind of always, you know, see myself making time to do.
Yeah, you find the passion in that, right? Just get back a little bit to the community and
Oh, yeah.
Jesus and your church.
Because I've been given so much, and sometimes, you know, I know nobody is deserving, but sometimes I know with the blessings that I get, like there are so many more deserving people, and people who have probably put more, you know, into certain areas. So for me to just have been gifted the things that I have off of the little bit, you know, that I've had to contribute, I think it's a blessing.
Now, did you ever take any type of singing teachings? Did you have any singing teachers, instructors that helped you along the way?
I did our choral program, our little chorus. So it was Mr. Tony Busick when I was younger, and we would do little like musicals, things like that. My debut was the Jingle Bell Jukebox in like the 3rd grade. When it comes to musical theater, I went on into high school and middle school. Mr. Gene Houston, he is a saint. That man taught me so much. But he's really the one who started pushing more of my writing, and that's something that not a lot of people even knew I did, because see, as a writer, we put our whole entire hearts on the line for everybody to listen to.
Right.
And sometimes that's hard to do, really hard to do.
Especially at such a young age.
Yeah, and whenever your heart's tied into it. And when I write, it's like the things that I have not even allowed myself to accept yet, but my heart knows comes out. And so sometimes it's like, I won't know how I'm feeling, but I write this song, and
that'll answer
it figures everything out. It's like my own paid therapist, I guess.
That's interesting, right? It's almost like your higher purpose. It's kind of like, you know, what's guiding you to write the music, right? To write the songs and the lyrics, right? You don't even know that you're feeling that until you write it, and then that's how you're answering that for yourself.
And some days the songs, you know, they come out in like less than 3 minutes. Like the words, you know, sometimes it's a fever, really. It is a sickness, and it is the only sickness I like.
And how do you feel that you've gained your inspiration when you are writing the music? Is there a moment maybe where it's, you know, when you wake up first in the morning, or if you're around your family, is there something that kind of triggers that emotion where you start writing?
I believe there are a lot of things that you know, can influence my writing and the times that I do it at, but more than anything, it's just life and being open and listening to people. The majority of your storytellers have lived hard lives, but they have also been able to listen to other people's. You have to think about that in that perspective. And kind of any time I think about life, you know, this right here is life. Everything that we do, every breath we take, and what we do with that's life. And so for me, when writing, I also want to speak life. So it takes anything from a simple conversation with a person to, you know, me thinking back to something from years ago, or either, you know, things in my personal life, of course. But there are just so many ways, you know, that it comes, and it makes no sense, because I'll be going down the road, like I have been in a McDonald's drive-thru before, singing into my voice memos in my car, and the lady would be looking at me like, okay, she's crazy.
The Big Mac gave you inspiration.
Yeah, the Big Mac. Yeah. All the chicken nuggets.
Anything, right? It's like, you know, the world is your inspiration, right? You don't know when you're gonna get it. it could really be any trigger at that point, right? Something reminds you of a childhood memory, and that just comes to, inspiration to you, and you just start writing about that at the moment.
The more that you're open to other people's perspectives and meeting different types of people from different places, like, it really helps you. See, the reason that I write, the reason that I do what I do, is not because everybody needs another writer. There's plenty of those. I do that because I have stories that I know I lived through those things to turn around and help people, because I believe that we're all called to heal people, and sometimes healing can come with a laugh.
I believe that.
Sometimes healing can be, those moments in my life that I don't even want to talk about, but I have to.
Because you don't know if by talking about whatever hardship you went through at the moment, who you're inspiring or who you're connecting to and who you're helping at that moment.
Absolutely. And so many people, writers, artists nowadays, like, is art art? Like, you really just have to look and ask yourself, is art really art? Because art is supposed to be expression. It's supposed to be a freedom. Nowadays, it is so robotic. It is so overkill. Like, go on the radio and try to find a song that has a concept that has not been nailed into the ground 1,000 times. A song that is true, a song that is helping people. That's what you have to look at. And the industry, it is a business, and it's rough, but I believe that there's also a place, and there is a great need for people who will write and tell true stories, and who are articulate enough to understand how to relay those to people in ways that are going to be the most effective.
And who have the courage to really express their individuality, and that they don't care so much about how big can I get as a country artist? I really want to grow if I really do inspire people on a genuine level.
Yeah.
Right? Because everybody's just thinking about the next paycheck and how can I become the bigger pop artist or country artist.
That is so sickening to me, because that right there is a part of where everything starts to fall apart for people. I believe that money is the root of all evil. I believe in today's time you need a lot of it to live. You do. But I also believe that the best things in life don't come in a monetary sense. They come in the life experiences. Like we were talking about, life happens so different for everybody else. And the majority of the times, money makes people think less about everyone else around them and what we're here to do. Keep in mind, we are all just simple people who are put on the earth. Over time, like, we have formed societies and things, but, back in the day, people were not, your civilized people. Like, everything was a lot different. And so it's taken a lot of big changes to do that kind of stuff, but in the same way that we kind of have evolved, and we've made our cities and our ways of thinking, and depending on where you're from, it's all different. The same way with that's kind of how it's going to have to change with writers and music, because it's always the small changes, so sometimes it'll go so far in one direction that in order for it to turn around, it has to hit a point that's like bad. Or so, like, say for early humans, it's like a, hey, this is new, maybe it's not that bad type of deal, and that led to advances and things like that. But it's the same way with writing, because the small little realizations and things like that writers make, we are put in the position to have the most influence over people.
Absolutely, 100%.
If you can get airtime as an independent artist, and I have been blessed enough where that has not really been a struggle for me. For the majority of people, it is, and it's hard, and we put a lot of money into it. We put a lot of praying, faith, trust, and pixie dust.
Yeah,
it's not.
I love that, faith, dust, and pixie dust. I'm quoting you on that one. I love it. I love what you're saying, and I love how you're expressing yourself. You're so young, and you don't really meet a lot of 21-year-olds that speak with this level of depth and passion, really. I think that the world is really lacking that, and I think that the world is really in a position where we're all evolving as spiritual beings and human beings. We're really in that shift right now spiritually, and we're seeing it more and more with people where they're becoming more and more comfortable just being open and truthful about their faith or their religion or their spirituality, their higher purpose. And like you're saying, and how we're explaining that your music is inspired by something deeper than you, where you don't even understand where the words are coming from. You just write it, and then you get it once you read it, because it's coming from something bigger than you, a higher calling that you're having. So I love that you're so young and you're headed in that direction, because I think that's what the world needs. They need more authenticity, and that's what you're bringing to the table.
And the craziest part is, out of all the people that exist in this world, people still want to be a certain person or try to be. I feel like the only time people will ask me all the time, like, how are you so happy? Like, you say so stressed out, sometimes with just life events and things. Like, how do you always have something joyful to say? And for me, the second that you realize that your life is precious, it is short.
Gratitude.
And that
it's about gratitude on a daily basis, right?
And when you leave the earth, what are you leaving behind? What is your legacy? What did you do? Did you make it a better place or a worse place? Did you play the victim, or did you stand up and say, hey, this happened, but I'm doing this? Life is not at all about what happens to you. It's about what you do with that and who you help from that. And see, a lot of people just think it's about what you as a person do with that, but where that true happiness and contentness comes from is knowing that, hey, this happened to me, but I can help you so it don't happen to you that way.
Because, and this is my general philosophy, and we just had a podcast last week about this in particular. It was about this particular topic, because this is a direction that I really want the podcast to kind of head into. That's why I love that you're speaking about it also. So this is the direction that I'm really working on positioning the podcast, is just speaking a little bit more about not necessarily so much faith or religion, but about your higher purpose and your higher calling, and really being true to that, and having that authenticity and lack of fear that everybody's always so concerned about what are others going to think about me. And when you do that, when you stand from that perspective, you limit yourself to your true capabilities.
You do.
And I truly do believe that in life, we are here to serve others, because that also comes from a selfish perspective, because it helps us feel better as well, right? Because that's our natural purpose in life. It's just to help other people. So, but it's also because we're helping ourselves.
Yeah.
So it's just like, it's a big circle, but it's a loving circle.
It is.
And as long as we stick to that authenticity, I think that the world really would be a better place.
I believe so too. It's too generic nowadays.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing, and time to turn the channel, quite honestly.
Right, absolutely. You were inducted into the Alabama Music Association at the age of 13, where you were recognized as the most promising vocalist of the year in the young female category, country category. So that's awesome.
It was crazy for me. So how that actually happened, I did anything that I could as a kid who did not have a band to make music. So I put myself in positions I would not be in on a normal day. I signed up for a beauty pageant in Dothan, Alabama, and my mom was super against it. I don't, she's a boy mom, so she's like, I don't know, about all this. Well, so I get there, and my friend's mom's helping, and I sing for my talent. I go to leave, and I'm in this big old pink ball gown. Oh my gosh, it was atrocious. But I'm in this big pink ball gown, and I'm running out the door, and there's a woman, chasing me, and I'm sitting here I don't know about that. And so I'm running, she's running, and then I went to turn around and I bump into her and she drops her papers. And I was raised different, so I stopped and helped her pick them up.
Right.
It was just the polite thing to do. And so she introduced herself, and she said that she was with the Alabama Music Association, and had explained to me, some of the stories, of success that have come out of them and what they do and how they help to develop you. And at the age of 13, I was not at all like what you see today. I was shy still, I was playing in front of people.
It takes a lot of time, I feel, to kind of get over that. I think the majority of artists that perform on stage to an audience always have that level of stage fright getting up on stage. And sure, through the years you might perfect that or get a little more comfortable, but you still get that I don't care how long you're doing it for. I think that you always get a little bit of that stage fright.
It's more so knowing that these people have gathered for this purpose, to listen. These people are invested enough and they care enough to come here. And it's not like a don't let me mess up, but it's like a I'm about to deliver type of thing. That's what happens before I go on stage. It's especially anywhere that I get to meet some of the people beforehand. I love the personal things like that. I love the personal exchanges. It's a bit hard for me to do here in Miami because of the language barrier, but Ramsey does a fabulous job.
What do you mean? You don't speak Spanish?
No habla.
Well, that's why you have your manager.
No habla español.
Yes, she does. She knows how to say her name. Say it. Mi nombre.
Mi amo es Bailey.
Me llamo Bailey.
Soy de Georgia.
Now you just need to get a Cuban accent and you're in.
Ramsey's sister already says I have the Cuban curve, so she says I'm not
that's
far
true.
off.
Very true. Very true. You do. You're a gorgeous woman. You really are. You're
you.
beautiful. You're inside and out so far, just by talking to you a little bit about who you are. So at 13, you're inducted into this young female country music category. How does that make you feel? Like, is that something that changes you at that moment? Do you feel that automatically you've evolved? You feel like you've achieved something enormous at that stage in your life, or is it just like, okay, next?
At that point in my life specifically, like, I was proud of it, but I did not really get family support on it like that, just because if it's something that you're not familiar with and, you know, your child or somebody you care about is getting into it, like, and they don't really know everything, of course they're going to be nervous because they don't even know how to advise you in the situation.
So who was
me,
advising you at that time?
Really and truly, God and myself. Anything that I could do, and that's how I know that I was meant for this. Because when all that happened, like, I knew that I had done something, and I felt like I should be proud of it, and I was very excited, and I took it, you know, with the utmost respect, and I worked hard, you know, and everything following that. But in that moment, it's a change, but it's not one of those changes that change who you are. I've always prided myself in being okay with being simple. You know, with being okay from coming from a town that has 3 red lights, more cows than people. You know, like that was me.
I think
and
that
that
makes
was
your
my
story
life.
even that much more interesting. You know,
And even with some, you know, more recent things that I found out, some big things that are going to be happening this year. It's the same thing. Like, at the end of the day, like, it is amazing that I get to do what I do in my calling. Like, I'm so thankful for that. But at the same time, like, I will always be that little girl, you know.
I love it. I love how you're getting emotional about this.
Try not to. Told myself I wouldn't.
Okay, so you're 13. You're starting to get recognition. How does your music start evolving at this point? How are you writing, connecting, growing? Tell me a little bit about that growth span now from 13 to where you're at today at 21.
Goodness, so it has been a lot of hearing the words no, which is hard for anybody. But it all has its place. Every no has its place. If I had done one singular thing different, if one answer would have been different, I would not be here in this place talking with you right now. Mm-hmm. And it's really just taken a lot of finding, and for me being from the town that I was from, it was so hard to find anybody who wants to talk about the industry, who knows about the industry. So it took a lot of digging and reading and researching, and we had
and
just
you were the one
gotten
doing
computers.
this by yourself.
Yeah, because I knew, like, that was my only chance.
That's
and like
amazing.
this is what I love. And so I dug and I saw, you know, who I could find, or, you know, whoever had a guitar in town, you know, like, would go and talk to them. And eventually I ended up going to Full Circle Music Academy, and through that, Seth Mosley, Mike X O'Connor, and the amazing team that they put together, they go through and, you know, they teach me, you know, about radio ready songs and things like that. And I started going to some of the live events and learning from them in a more hands-on environment, and it has been the coolest thing. They're the best thing that anybody who has any interest in any subject whatsoever can do is find people who are good people, share about the same morals as you, and are respectful people, and ask them. Never be afraid to ask. We all had to ask. And a lot of times people think that people in that position, like, oh, you know, that's Grammy winners. Their songs have went on to do insane things. They think that they're not people. We're all people. It's just a different thing. You know, like, a lot of the public doesn't understand that people are still people. A lot of people get too obsessed, you know, with it, because the way phones are today, that's easy. You see what you want to see on social media. You don't see all the struggles, all of that, because I promise you they've had those too, and they still do as people. But all of those things, you know, built me and introduced me to more people. And even the smallest little places that I have played, I have met some of the most incredible people. And, you know, going back to what I said earlier, the different ways of thinking, the different outlooks and perspectives, like once I got to that point where I was able to go a little more, you know, and meet these people and do this stuff, my mental health, my writing process, everything just like, it's like magic. Like it
Elevated,
just got
just
better
elevated.
and better, and it did. And because you're stepping into your purpose, like you already know, you know, when you're young, what you want to do. And for some people, that looks drastically different. There is nothing wrong with being the mailman. There's nothing wrong with being a trash man. Not everybody has to be a country music singer. Everything
Completely
has its
agreed.
place and is so important. And so a lot of times people will be like, oh, I'm trying to find my higher calling, you know, and they've got something they're great at.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, why would you, like, that is what you were good at.
Yeah.
Why would you belittle yourself? Because everything has its place, you know?
And you know, I think that when you know, not everybody has that that strong calling, I believe, that like you have, right? Like since you were young, you were born, you know, like Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson is a person that when they get on, when Michael Jackson got on stage and he sang and he performed, everybody said that person is doing what they were meant to do in life. There was no doubt in anybody's mind. And even though he had a very difficult upbringing, you know, with all of the challenges that he endured, you know, that had to be his calling and his purpose, right? You felt that in his performances. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what were some of your struggles? You know, you asked for help. I do believe that, you know, artists that are already in the industry, and that applies to any business for that matter, if you ask for the help, people will help you. We go back to what we were talking about in the beginning. People want to help you grow because it helps them feel better.
Yeah.
Right? It comes from a selfish perspective that we as human beings have, but it's still to serve others. So when you received the help, what were some of the challenges that you still endured while you were performing, or you know, when you were writing a song?
Well, I'll be the first to say, being the head of something that's bigger than you, it's a big gig to fill, big shoes, on and off stage, in and out of my songbooks, in and out of studios, wherever. You know, there is still so much going on. Like we do not get days off. Even
Right.
when we say we have days off, we don't. We are in the next month. We're in the next year. Actually, currently booking 2024, and it's getting tight. You know,
Yeah.
like you're always having to be ahead. Sometimes, whenever you're gone for extended periods of time, you miss out on things with your family that you can't really get back. But you just have to trust and know. You know.
That it's all going to pan
Yeah.
out, and it's all going to pay out in the long run.
Yeah, and whenever it comes to, you know, other struggles, like really big struggles, how I said, being, you know, a part of anything bigger than you and heading it up, it's hard. Being a woman in a man's industry, statistically proven, you know, nothing towards the men in country music, but it's a man-dominated sport. Girls do not get record deals like that, and I'm not really too concerned with a record deal because I like keeping my creative control and being able to speak and have that, because that's just something that's very important to me as a person.
I hear that from so many new up-and-coming artists now, where that
getting
really
fed
is
up.
something that you guys are fighting for, right? You're not
is.
letting the record labels control your music,
No.
and you want to keep your individual control.
And I'll let you in on a secret, which it's no secret, but the only reason that radio works is because you're listening to the songs. They're telling you what you like and putting the similar things on the playlist. That is why that works, because the people listening determine the success of the artist. Radio, sometimes it gets... I'm trying to think of the right words to say. So you can be better than anything on the radio. I'm not personally claiming at all that I am, and I don't even want that to be a misconception, because I'm just me. I just do what I do, and that's that. But the majority of times, the main issues that artists like me suffer with is marketing. That's a big thing. Marketing, dollars, that kinds of stuff. So when you have that amount of money that these people are getting paid or have paid into, and the way record labels work, they might give you a deal up front, but you have to pay it on the back. And if you don't, that's the end of your career.
Right.
And they can shelve you, they can do anything that they want to, and it's just going to ride. And guess what? Your career, you as a person, you as an individual, you're not going to get taken care of. You're not going to be doing your purpose, and that hurts. That is worse than, I would rather get stitched up and watch myself get stitched up again than have that happen, because that is another type of pain.
And not only that, you're the one that's performing. You're the one that's struggled. You're the one that's gotten beat up on the road, right? You're the one that's leaving your family and spending all this time away from home and your loved ones. Yet they're getting all the credit and the money for it, right? For all of your hard work.
And they will turn around and in a heartbeat, and it's happened throughout the beginning of time, say that they made somebody, and that is the biggest crock of crap, because without artists, who would even be, on the radio singing to listen to? I do something where I am replaceable 110%. According to labels, they can have another blonde-haired, blue-eyed, 5'7" female that's got curves and an attitude and a southern drawl in there in a minute, and she can probably do something, good, and that's their replacement. There is not a personal connection, a personal tie-in. It's just business, and that's how it is. I believe that there are good labels out there and good people who want to help. I believe you can be in the industry like I am and not be a part of the industry. I believe there are two different things there, and a lot of people don't understand that because they think if you're in the industry, you're signed to a label. No, if you're songwriting, if you are doing music in any form, anything at all, you're in the industry. If you are making money off of that, if you are a professional, if you are doing that, you are in the industry. You are a part of the music scene, whether you want to be or not.
Right.
And what I've found from everything I've read, personal stories from friends, things my mentors have kind of warned me about over the years. People love taking things that don't belong to them, and that has been going on since the beginning of time.
Absolutely.
In any capacity. And so it goes back to what we were saying, money is the root of all evil, and that's greed. And what that causes is a bunch of vampires who will take every single thing that you have to give, and even the things that you don't even have to give yet. And they're going to try to tell you who you are, and they're going to try to tell you what you're doing. They're going to try to tell you how to dress, things like that. See, the reason, even though I'm a country artist, the reason I love rock and roll so much was because that did not matter. Do you think they cared when Queen did Bohemian Rhapsody? That was a 7-minute long song. They threw the brick through the window of the guy who told them that was ridiculous. And look at them. That's just a prime example that sometimes
taking their chances and just knowing and hearing that inner voice that's telling you, fight for this, do what you got to do, this is going to happen for you.
And
don't take no for an answer.
The industry does not control everything. The people control everything. And that is the craziest part. The industry just has the money, and that's where they get you. The industry has the money, and they have the promises to make your dreams come true. They cannot just promise to make your dreams come true. Anybody with a promise, any new artist watching this, if they promise to make your dreams come true, run. It's going to be a mess. It's not going to be what you're expecting. And I think there's so much more that can be done without those confines. And I'm not opposed to eventually, over time, if I found the right deal with the right people and the right terms on creative controls, I would not be opposed to some kind of deal. But it is not a goal of mine. It is not on the forefront of my mind, and it is not going to slow down what we got going on this year.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about you and Ramsey Petersson, your manager. Why don't you tell me, Ramsey, a little bit about how the two of you met? Because this has got to be a fun story to hear.
Okay, I'm a rocker, and I decided with the same people as... I don't believe in coincidences, first of all. So... one day, I just came across this thing for Full Circle Music. Same one she had said. And they put on these, camps and seminars where they invite different genres and different type of speakers from the industry going. So, I never in a million years imagined that I would end up in Nashville. Because I'm like, country. I don't like country music. I'm just going to Nashville because I want to see this speaker, and I'm pitching my songs for Pink and Gwen Stefani because I've been in the music industry for over 40 years. As a singer-songwriter, I fronted a band, solo female artist. I was, and when my grandmother passed in 2014, it's like I dropped out of life for like 5 years, basically. And then I ended up seeing this stuff. I bought an old, I have a piano because I'm a musician, so I play the bass and piano, but I didn't want to touch the piano. I prayed to my grandmother for guidance, and I went, I think it was to Brandsmart, and I bought like a synthesizer. So what you're gonna get from a synthesizer is you're gonna get pop music. And I write rock and roll. So I ended up writing, praying, and letting out my grief, like in music.
Through your music.
So I ended up writing like 6 or 7
It's
songs.
what we were saying earlier. It's therapeutic, right? It's a form of therapy.
Yeah.
It's a form
I ended
of release.
up writing like 6 or 7 songs. I'm here like, this is like pop music. So I'm here like doing all these beats and stuff. And I'm like, this sounds like Gwen Stefani music. And this one sounds like it's for Pink. So then I found out, then I started like, getting back into life, and so I found Full Circle Music. So I knew they had this, retreat coming up, and then I signed up for it. She was there totally for the country part, and I was there because I wanted to see this hot producer.
And I was near about the only country artist too, actually, to my surprise and complete and utter shock when I walked through the door. So it was very interesting.
Well, that's a good way to stand out.
And I walked in with
If the hat didn't do it.
Yeah, and I walked in with my spike hair and my art belt, and I'm just being me, I'm just being me. Totally out of place, mind you, me totally out of place. And, I had some people like listen to some stuff that I had produced because I'm a producer as well. And anyways, we get outside, I'm ready to catch a breath. And then Bailey can tell you because there's a little part of before, so you can catch the contents of how we met. But we were actually in the same space, but in different location within the same roof. But then when I stepped outside to get a breath of fresh air, she's gonna tell you like the little backstory of that now, real quick.
So at this point, back it up maybe an hour before this. So I'm on the way to this venue, right? And I have this pretty important meeting that morning, and it's a smaller meeting, so it's even more noticeable if I am not there. Mm-hmm. I'm on time. I'm doing amazing, going down the road in my car. Next thing you know, my turbo actuator rod in my car broke, and I did not know that at the moment, but I know when your speedometer and everything else and your RPMs are going,
that's like never a positive sign.
It's not good. And so I'm rolling down the hill, and I call my dad, and I'm like, Dad, I don't know what's going on. I think I'm gonna die, and he's like, put it in neutral. And so I'm just rolling down a hill, and I'm like, please, dear God, like that's all I can say. And so I was blessed enough to have a friend in the area, and so he also did music. And so he came, and we got my car to where it needed to be. He dropped me off. At this point, I have talked to 3 different mechanics trying to figure out who can do this thing, drug the car all around to get it to where it needed to be. And I'm walking finally so late into this thing that I was like, I am not about to be that unprofessional and even step foot in the room with it being this late. And so I was like, when all else fails, I need a flipping taco. Like, I just want a taco. Like, that's all I want right now.
Girls gotta eat.
Listen, food is my number 1 love language. I love food. Food is gorgeous. And I have enjoyed Miami and Hialeah because all of the Cuban cuisine is, oh my goodness. But so I step off the curb, and I'm looking and I am frantic. I'm sweating bullets. I am mad. And I'm just looking around and I'm like looking at this map and I'm like turning it upside down and I'm like, this doesn't even make sense. And I'm so mad. Like, probably one of the worst tempered moments for me in a long, long, long time. And then I see this little Cuban lady standing on the corner like, are you looking for the taco truck? It's not coming. You're going to be waiting until tomorrow. And
that's me. I'm here like, did you guys just say taco? I'm here like, man, you're going to be waiting for a couple of days because that taco truck is not getting here till tomorrow.
Oh, I almost cried. I almost did. But
so I broke the news. I broke the bad news. And then we all kind of like introduce ourselves. If she was with somebody else that had stepped out too, to grab some food because the seminars and the speakers and everything can be a little intense. So sometimes you need to step out for a break. And you can take breaks whenever you want to eat. So we all ended up like, oh, jump in the car because everybody's super cool there. Oh, jump in the car. Where are we going? Bailey, look it up look it up. What restaurants are nearby? And she's like the queen of like, I've never seen anyone text so fast.
Oh, I thought you were about to talk about soup. My bad.
Yeah.
I love soup.
I love soup.
Yeah, so the Panera, we ended up with Panera Bread. And we all talked about just what we were there for.
Right,
you
your
know.
roles at the
We were
event.
all in, and I'm here like, yeah, I'm just here like, I'm gonna be writing. I'm here just a producer. I quit management a long time ago, and you know, like I have no interest in managing anyone. I'm just here writing demo tracks for like, you know, I'm pitching to Gwen Stefani, Pink, Nelly Furtado, stuff like that, and meeting other producers that could help me with it, you know. So then she's listening to what I'm saying. She's like, okay. So, and I was listening to her story, which is amazing, too. But still, like, in the back of my head, I'm like, you know, this girl, I mean, I love this song. You know, I love her work because we listen to each other's work.
Mm-hmm.
She's listened to other artists that I produce. We're here in a car just, oh, here's my CD or here's my this. And we took turns and admiring each other's work. So
That was a very, very cool moment.
yeah. So I'm like, I want no part in managing anyone. Yeah, right. So
You spoke too soon.
yeah, right. And
then
so
I strolled on in.
and then she strolled on it. And she could like elaborate a little bit to that point after when you got to the airport, finally with the car at the airport. And
So before there was any management talk whatsoever between me and Ramsey, we started just how any of the professionals in the industry do that have good working relationships with people and friendships with other people in the music industry. You have to get to know the person first and their why behind what they do. And so for some people, you can usually tell who's selfish and who's greedy because they're going to come up to you and they're going to tell you what they want from you before they even tell you,
Right
hey,
off the
how
bat.
are you? Yeah.
What are their
and,
personal interests and gains, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And those people are walking, talking red flags. And so with Ramsey, I was going to go back home, and we had to bring a gooseneck trailer up from Georgia. We loaded a Volkswagen Jetta after I took my first flight ever back
She's never
through
been on a
Nashville.
plane.
Never been in an airport. Flipping out, and I'm calling and I'm hyperventilating. I'm like, I've never done this before. All my clothes, everything I own is locked up in my car.
Anybody that's been to the airport a lot still stresses out. So I can only imagine how you must have felt at that moment for the
my
first
goodness.
time.
And I had to be back the next morning. I actually had to leave everything a day early, and I really hated to because the only flight that they had out was that night. So I had to fly from Nashville, Tennessee to Panama City, Florida, have someone pick me up in Panama City Beach, drive 3 hours
Jesus.
to my hometown, sleep for 2 hours to get up to prepare my brother's wedding, which I was also bridesmaid in. So it was bang, bang, bang. But
back to back madness.
yeah,
So
that
it was,
at the airport. I didn't go to the airport, but you know, we at that point we were instantly after Panera Bread. we were just like this.
Oh, yeah.
You clicked.
We
There was
clicked.
that
It
instant
was-
connection between the two of you,
it
which is so
was just
important in a
like-
business relationship.
It was just like magnetic.
It is, and we understand each other as people first, and I believe that's the most important thing for any working situation. It's the majority
Absolutely.
of reasons that things don't work because people aren't willing to learn people and why they do what they do or how they are.
So now that you say that, it's a perfect segue for me to ask you right off the bat. You saw just by speaking to Ramsey exactly, what was her why, that she wasn't a selfish person, that she truly did want to help you with your music and your growth, and you saw how she could expand your career. What's Bailey's why? What makes you say, I do this because I love it?
I did this because I come from a town where if you don't have the last, or the right last name, if you don't have all these things, if you're not a tiny bit hoity-toity, sometimes it makes it harder for you to be seen and to be heard and to have opportunity. And for me, I know there are other people exactly like me, maybe not even doing what I'm doing, but who are exactly like me, who are in those towns, and they don't feel seen, And those are the types of people that need healing also. It goes back to what I said earlier. Healing is always my number one reason in what I do. But it is absolutely insanely empowering to me to know, not that but that, my work can do things for those types of people, and so I can be that example, because I don't, I've already said it before, I don't care about the money. Like, I don't care about fame. I don't necessarily want fame. I want enough people and new people coming in, where I can support myself, I can do what I love, and where new people are coming in so they can hear what I have to say, and hopefully it impacts them in a right way. But my why is so the little girls who grew up like me, the people with no voice, to be that voice. Because a lot of people have stories and not a lot of people talk nowadays. You have your talkers. You have your talkers, the ones who don't talk about anything. Then you have your genuine people, and a lot of the times your genuine people fall between, these people are so full of crap, I'm not even going to say anything, because they're not even on my mental capacity anyway. They couldn't understand a conversation like this. It would cause them to look within themselves and open up a little bit. And that's like a big part of my why, because I know there's so much good to be done from what I've been given.
You've got a huge platform that you can connect to, like you say, little younger people, right? A younger audience, little girls, little boys, and you can really portray a very positive message. Right? Of faith, of love, right, of growth. You can really connect to them,
and you choose. And a lot of artists, a lot of people, to each their own. But me personally, like, if I have this platform and if God keeps blessing me and all this, like, the least that I can do is meet Him halfway and do what's right, and just being a decent human. Even take religion out of it, because not everybody's religious, and that's cool. That's fine. It's America. You have that right. But that the term, it still is the same. It still is the exact same,
So speaking about, your younger fans that follow you and look up to you, what message do you have for a young, passionate artist in any genre of music, with some of the struggles that you've already gone through? You're still very young. I'm sure that it's still, a hard knocks road ahead.
Take it as it comes.
Just the music industry is a bitch.
Yeah,
That's the reality
absolutely.
of it,
That about sums it up.
But you seem to have a good head on your shoulders, and you seem to be headed in the right direction. You have great guidance with your manager,
Absolutely.
Ramsey. So what advice can you give to that struggling, 10-year-old that's writing their music like Bailey did? That's memorizing it, that's singing to their dogs. Maybe they don't have horses, they have dogs, they have cats, like the ones we have here in the studio today that don't shut up. What advice can you offer them?
My biggest advice is, number one, sometimes no is not always a bad thing. Sometimes
It's redirection.
redirection, and you will not see it at that moment, because I was that kid. but you have to know what you want, and to know that the things that you're writing that you're probably not showing anybody, the things that you've invested your heart into, that they matter and they make a difference, and they're not stupid. Your songs are not silly. Whatever type of art it is, whatever you're doing, it doesn't even have to be art or pertain to art. Whatever it is you're doing, whatever you want to do, your dreams, your goals, go for it. Life is so short. Life flies by like a 30-minute lunch break. Like, if you are not on top of it, you can do anything you want to. Anything, as long as it's legal, got to be safe. But you can do anything you want to. I don't want to get sued. But like, anything at all is obtainable. If you had asked me, I did not at all. I did not even have it in my mind or as a goal to be inducted into the Georgia Country Music Hall of Fame, and especially not at this age. And that is something that has recently developed, and I will be joining in that. But you can do anything. I was the same exact kid. I was in the same place. The first chapter that you start on is not going to look like my 40th chapter, but in time it will. And it's going to be different, unique, and beautiful for you. So just enjoy where you are and enjoy being doubted, because it's something now, like all the people who doubted are saying they're proud, and it's the moment that a lot of artists dream of.
Yeah, all the cheerleaders come out with
yeah, seriously,
but what
all
about
the high
when you were
school
struggling
girls,
and your voice was cracking and you were nervous?
they don't mind asking for tickets, but then and another thing for my younger audience. Be very mindful of who you give your energy to and who you take your advice from, and ask yourself, do they understand, number one, your why, and do you understand your why? Because if you do understand your why, you will be unstoppable. And you've also got to ask yourself, what is this going to contribute to the world? Because I feel like all the best things are not centered within yourself.
I love your passion. I love how you express yourself. You're touching me. You're motivating me, you're speaking to me, and you beat me to the punch because she is being inducted into the Georgia Country Music Hall of Fame.
It's insane.
On the 28th of October. Holy moly.
To me, I'm still in that little mental limbo where it's like, I know I have been, but it like hasn't fully hit. And even when it does, like I still wake up tomorrow, I still brush my teeth and use the bathroom the same way everybody else does, So it's definitely cool. But I don't think my brain has fully, absorbed
everything that's happening.
all of it.
And usually that's the way that it works, right? You struggle, you give it your hard work,
and it's almost
you're away
like,
from family, and then it just like starts snapping together, and it's fast, and it comes
so fast.
Yeah.
Everything is moving extremely fast, and I'm so grateful for that. I will not complain one bit with that. Like, I take time with my family when I can get it. I take time with my music all the time.
Do
as
you
long
still
as I
live
can
in
get
Georgia?
I actually moved to the other corner on the other side of the line. So it's Alabama, but it's still within an hour. I had to kind of get out for writing purposes and just for general mental health with what I do, because where I come from, it's not common to see anybody, especially not make it. And I've still got a long ways to go. This is my first chapter, but I'm just blessed. I'm just tickled, because you're not supposed to make it out of a town like that. You're not supposed to be anything other than a farmer, a welder, a doctor, a nurse, behind a desk somewhere. You're supposed to be a teacher. You're supposed to be what everybody wants you to be. And for you to make it in something creative after everybody has told you no, like, I'm blessed. That's all I can say about that. Like, it's crazy.
And the fact that you recognize it and you understand that only makes you that much more special, and only...
Sorry, I did not mean to cry.
No, you're supposed to cry when you love something and you're this passionate about it.
And I love it so much. Like, it does not matter, what happens with my music career, per se. I'm always going to be doing music. I have to.
No matter what.
Like, it's the only thing that makes me feel right. It is the one place where I go where I know, hey, I'm being heard, and I have something to say.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about some of your top songs that you've written that you're very passionate about, and that really mean a lot to you.
So there is one in particular, and I wrote this for Zachary All Day, and our families have always been extremely close, and so growing up, that was Uncle Zach. He was a medic in Iraq, and he did not make it out. And so growing up, his daughter was real little. So when I could, like I would try to spend time with her, and I got a message from her. Goodness, it's been like near about 2 years ago, and one day she was like, "Hey, like, I know that if there's anybody I want to ask to do this, I want it to be you. I feel like you can do this." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And she's like, "I don't have anything to remember my father by, and I just want you to write a song because I don't want his legacy to be in vain, and
Oh, beautiful.
for me that's hard. Like, you think I'm qualified for that? Like, that
No,
man,
what an honor, right?
that's
the
big
fact that
shoes
they're
to
asking
fill.
you,
Yeah,
'cause
I
that's something
felt
that's
so
gonna live in the
honored.
memories of everyone.
And that's a song that I absolutely cannot wait to let that out. But it's called Fallen Heroes, and I come from a family that has a lot of military background and a lot of people sacrificing their freedoms, and becoming property of the government to ensure that we're all fine. And that's a big sacrifice. I know a lot of people don't really understand, like, oh, soldiers keep us safe, they do this, they do that. Like, they don't understand, like, these people have families too,
Right. And they're putting their lives on the line every single day
Absolutely.
for our freedom every day. And you're absolutely right. A lot of people don't understand that and don't appreciate it.
No, they don't.
The sacrifices that they make
And what they live
for
with
our freedom
even
and
after.
for this country.
Yeah, and so that has been one of the most meaningful songs. But I try. Meaningful is different for everybody depending on what you're dealing with, what you relate to and go through. I have a lot of songs with a lot of meaning, and I have some, that are just your right around songs but still tell a story. But I believe writing things of substance, it's the part of the reason that writing for me is such a big thing, because anybody can write anything, but what you choose to do with it says everything about you. And so I've got songs from anything from love, loss, heartbreak, long flights, sleepless nights, everything, you name it.
In your writing, in your with your inspiration and with your writing, do you guys have any plans for other artists to also be able to sing some of your songs, or are you going to be the only exclusive artist that's going to be able to sing it?
See, I'm not opposed at all to having somebody else sing my song, and especially if, publishing deal, if that works out, business wise for us and schedule wise, if that works out and that's what God has planned for me, then I'm not opposed to it at all. I will be writing specifically for them, though, because when I write, I have my own personal style, and that's something that I've really become proud of over the past few years. At first I went through, trying to figure out what my style was, what my sound was and all that. And then it's just like, one day I woke up and I was like, you've had it the whole time. Like, why did you ask yourself? Like, you have had it the whole time. Like, you never really had to question. It's always been there. And so for me, that's something that I know is specific to me. And as a writer who has integrity, it's only right to make sure that the song that person is getting is them, is their style, is something that would be believable coming out of their mouth, things they believe, experiences that have happened to them. Like, I have written some songs for other artists, and I believe that, that's an avenue that I would like to be a part of. Like I said, within the right timing and right type of people for the songs, because I feel like a lot of people who don't write their own stuff, sometimes it shows if they're not personally connected and invested into a song.
Absolutely.
And it kind of eventually will make them feel like a sellout, coming from a lot of people in Music Row that I've had the privilege of talking to.
So would you be open to singing one of your songs with us today?
I absolutely would.
Okay.
So this, I probably won't do the whole thing.
Just give us a little glimpse into who Bailey is, and so that we can hear your
Colt Lightning.
Colt Lightning.
We'll
Yeah.
tell them
So
you won
this
an award
is,
for it.
yeah, this is actually got me Traditional Country Songwriter of the Year for 2020. this past year.
Yeah.
I was going to say the timing in the year is kind of crazy. But it was crazy for me because I'm very proud of that, a traditional country music award. People don't acknowledge traditional country anymore. So for them to take my song and be like, this is traditional, this is real country, like that right there, oh, it made my heart smile. Like I may sing other things, you know, I'm open to jumping on different types of tracks, but I'll always be a country girl at heart. So that just made everything. But so this song kind of came about because one of my friends had asked me, we were just, you know, at work talking one day, and she was like, you know, if you were like any kind of person, like any kind of like outlaw from back in the day, what would you be like? And I was like, oh, I love my Western style. You're going to have to give me a little bit. Like, I'm going to have to think on it. And I couldn't figure out how you really answer that question with words. So I had to put it into like a song. And but it goes like this. I'd be like Billy the Kid, quick hand on a holster, money on my head and my picture on a poster. They'd have it scattered around from Lincoln to this town. I handle my business, can't go back again. Justice ain't just the law, ain't my friend. And I ain't going out without guns a-blazing. I got the spirit of a phoenix and wild like a stag. Try and break me if you can, I'll do the dang thing. With a buffalo roam, we ain't too inviting. Steal upon us, get mowed down with cold lightning. And then it goes on, and through it, like, I didn't necessarily watch a movie and just be like, let's tie all these people into it. You know, it was more of a natural thing like that. I wrote that whole song in about less than 5 minutes.
That's amazing.
In time, like writing it on paper. But it references, I feel like it has, you know, a lot of potential to reach audiences normal traditional country would not, just because, you know, there are some fictional and non-fictional outlaw characters in there who in today's television have, you know, been turned into, you know, heroes, you know, people who, even though it was viewed bad at the time, you know, what they did, it was always, you know, for the right reason. So, so that song right there, kind of just gives
Well,
a
that's
walk
a beautiful
through.
song. You have a beautiful voice.
Thank you.
Before you sang the song, you started talking about, you know, one of your awards. You want to share some of the other awards that? I know that you've been very fortunate in that.
Extremely. So the North American Country Music Association International has been something that has really helped me and furthered all of my interest, and also allowed me to meet people that I did not know I needed to meet in the moment. And it is not at all what they can give for me type of thing. It is 110% of who they are type of people. People that will keep you grounded and keep you on the right track. And so I've won a decent amount, and I don't mean to say that in any kind of cocky way whatsoever, but I've won Future Star of Tomorrow. I was pretty young for that. For New Country, I've won Performing Arts. Well, that's a separate thing. We'll just blur that part. But I've won Performer of the Year, Entertainer of the Year.
Entertainer of the Year.
Yeah, here, we'll do that again because I keep trying to think and my brain ain't working. I've won Entertainer of the Year for New Country. I've won Vocalist of the Year for New Country. I've won some songwriting awards through there, one for New Country and one for Traditional, one with Case Closed, which is one of my release songs that you can find on any streaming platform. And it has been a wild ride, an absolute wild ride. And I know for a fact, you know, that this is just the beginning.
This is just the beginning. And who are some of the country artists that have been some of your biggest inspiration?
Oh my goodness, you gotta take it back to pay your dues. I grew up, I love George Jones. I cried the day he died. I missed school. I faked an illness to miss school because I was devastated. I was like, country music's down the toilet, Dad. You know, and he's looking at me like, you are weird. You know, like you have problems. You know, like good music taste, but you're questionable. And so Loretta Lynn, you know, just there's so many, like Johnny Cash, as far as writing goes, and the way, you know, that he did things, June Carter Cash, and I love people who really spoke, and that's the thing. You can make a good song, you can make a song with a good hook, and it's catchy, and it's trendy, and it's radio ready, and it can also have substance. I love country as a genre because it has that substance.
Absolutely.
And Zach Bryan is a new artist, and I mean, say what you want, call him country, call him whatever, it doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, he's still making his money. He's still doing exactly what I want to do as far as how many people's lives he's helping. He's very inspiring to me, because a lot of his words and experiences, you know, are things that are very, very, very tied
Relatable.
closely into me. And even just as being an artist and the things that we face, like, you understand things differently the more life you live. So if I was not an artist, I would still relate to his music, but I would not fully understand all of it. And so I believe that he is on it. He is on the right track. And I think that he has led for kind of a revolution with lyricists everywhere. People are becoming more willing to listen to things of substance now because of him. And he started out, you know, a little different, but he was a Navy man. And I also, you know, have the utmost respect for him. His career started doing good, and they gave him an honorable discharge. And this guy's story, like, it speaks. But Zach Bryan is definitely up on that list. And Ashley McBride and Kaylee Hammock are two other ones. And I believe that they are individuals who are different, and they're fine with being different, you know, and they come from humble roots. Kaylee Hammock is actually from Georgia. And so I remember towards the beginning, like right before I let out my 2 original songs, me and the band that I had at the time, Whiskey Redemption, we were doing this little cover song for a TikTok, and we put it out. Well, I go to bed, I'm not thinking anything of it. I wake up and she responded. She took time, you know, and she was like, "This makes my heart so happy. Keep going," you know, with the little orange hearts. And
that's amazing.
And that's why I
That's
love being personal with people.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
the littlest things,
It touches you.
They
It
make
touches
the
you in a different
biggest
way.
impact. Yes, absolutely. And you know, imagine if everybody was as encouraging, as positive, you know, as people like that, and had as much to say that they were willing to say as these people, because they're not really apologetic, you know, with how they feel and who they are. And in today's time, you're trained to be apologetic or you get canceled, and that's sad, you know, because we still have our rights, our freedom of speech, our freedom of press, and that is something that has become a little watered down over the years. And I think it is gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous, to the artists who are still able to be themselves and are not conforming to what everybody wants, because we're not in this for what everybody wants. If we were in this for what everybody wants, like, we would have nothing as people. Like, we would have nothing left to offer anybody, because we would be so kicked down and beat down, you know. And I mean, we stay in an industry where you have to make a ton of sacrifices that are unbelievable. Like, you would not believe the half of what goes into it. And sometimes it's really straining and draining on the mental. And a lot of people did not want to talk about, like, a lot of the singers and stuff want to make it happy-go-lucky, shallow stuff, shallower than a kiddie pool at the dollar store, you know. And then you've got your people who are over here who are really being like, hey, this is how it is, and this is what I do, and this right here is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life, and you're not going to take that from me. I feel like the people who will write those lyrics and those stories and just be that vulnerable and let you inside and still be so humble with it.
Right.
That is the biggest thing, being humble. That I believe they are all amazing. And there is countless more. But that right there, that probably about sums up the tops on mine.
So, Ramsey, you have an amazing artist that you're promoting, that you're helping, that you're managing. I could see that this girl is only going to fly moving forward, and I really hope that you stick to your guns with everything and your passion and your individuality, where you're connecting and helping the younger audience today, because a lot of the musical artists that are out there right now that are performing, their messages are just
disgusting.
And the one thing
disgusting.
The one thing that really jolted us was the fact that she was cool with my style of management, my style overall.
Yeah.
And I never wanted to change her, because once a record label or some flashy manager that promised you, like she said, stuff is gonna happen, immediately you walk in through the door and they change you, and then you're not Bailey Dixon anymore. And I told her, I will fight for you. I will fight for you for those terms. Guaranteed release, which is like they cannot shelve you, they cannot sign you and shelve you and then put the next hot face that's not even half as good as you are.
Because we're replaceable.
I always tell you, there's things I'm gonna do. Don't worry about it. I'm the bad guy. I will be the bad guy.
Right. That is my favorite phrase. When I hear that, I know that
you can't be the good guy and the bad guy. Somebody's got to get the bad guy role.
I'll be good cop.
You know,
but
good
I
cop,
actually
bad cop.
I actually wrote a song, and I'll share you like some of the lyrics. It's pretty new. It's not quite finished yet, but it's just very raw. Everything started changing all at once, and so this is when okay, it goes like this. Doing what you love shouldn't be this hard. Playing for spare change in smoky bars. And beating down the back doors because you don't sound mainstream. Well, you better be smart if you want to win, because they'll tell you who you are over and over again. And you can get real far, but you better not lose yourself. And then the chorus is, this ain't what I was after. Another day, a new disaster. But I still hope if there's a million, I'll be that one. And then the bridge is, as a child, I used to dream about what I want. Grew up, and they told me it was all wrong. The only thing that'll ever leave this town will be the cattle. And then it's like, but as for me, I'm back in the saddle. And it just kind of, it's a different way to kind of just express the music industry, you know. I feel like it's kind of simplistic enough where you can get what I'm saying, but not a lot of people are gonna say it, because a lot of people are, you know, their stance on things changes depending on you know, what it is that they want out of things. It's kind of crazy to me, because I think if you believe something, that's what you believe, and it should just be that way.
Absolutely. So Ramsey, do you have any plans that you can share with us for her continued expansion in the country genre, and with different events or concerts or radio play that she's going to get moving forward?
Yes. We are going to do, like we have mentioned, the Georgia Country Musical induction. Then we are finalizing, like, trying to get our calendar together, because we always have to think ahead of going into more radio stations. She already has a couple lined up, and also probably because we have to book these like 3 months ahead or more times ahead. Back here to Miami, to Luna Star Cafe in North Miami.
And I cannot wait to come back, because I love that place and I love the people here. It has my whole entire heart, like, truly.
Yeah, Luna Star Cafe, and probably do more. We're gonna let out a new song. So right now we're just like in between that happens. We're gonna let out something more towards either the end of the year or the beginning of the year. And she also has International Country Music Awards again in 2024. So we're like, gotta navigate everything. And
it's a busy schedule coming up, that's for sure.
And in 2 weeks,
Extremely.
and that the Georgia Hall of Fame
on the 28th of October.
I can breathe Christmas and next April.
Yeah. So.
But you're doing it, but you're busy, and you're doing it by doing something that you love and that you're passionate about. Where not a lot of people can say that about the work that they do, that they're forced to do because they have to, right?
And
like
you know,
you're doing it really from a different level. You're working at a different level.
Always,
you're working on your calling.
Always one of the best things.
Yeah, into like bigger stations, trying to get bigger stations to get, you know, to give us a listen, you know.
I've had some pretty decent sized terrestrial station play, but I have been more so worried about, just like with any good thing, an empire is not built in a day. So there are a lot of little moving parts and things and timings that have to match up. The business has to make sense. Because if it was up to me and if I had the funding, y'all could have 30 songs tomorrow night. Like, we would let them out. I've got quite the catalog, just because it's my whole life's work to write. But, brain fart.
Like when we heard, like, this is really funny because I felt like we've been, like, gotten some good, emotional, good stuff. So I thought that, like, when we found out a couple of days ago, she calls me or something because I was somewhere, I was at the store, and she had found out over her phone about the induction, and she goes, Ramsey, I have something to tell you. And she loves when I do the funny country accent. She goes, I have something funny to tell you. I have something awesome to tell you. And I go, do I need to buy a new hot shirt and a suit? And I go, is it that good? She goes, yeah. And then so she comes and she gives me the news.
I was like, do you know what I'm about to tell you? She goes, no. And I'm like, how? Like, I'm a mess right now.
So we just sat there at the edge of the bed together, and then she told me, and then after, it's like when you get nominated for an Oscar, like how you get that morning where they film you, where they're like, oh my God, she's like crying, and I'm here, and that's like step one is acknowledging, calling, your family, friends, hugging it, tears, all
and
this.
Making sure that you tell all of your family and friends and people that you hold dear to you before a leak sends it out.
Yes,
and that's a big thing. And then you have personal and professional issues in that case, and that's no fun.
But then the funny thing about it is the second part of it is like, okay, Bailey, now that we know that you're getting in the Georgia Hall of Fame, what's the next step? Is like, what are we wearing? Let's go shopping. Because as a fashion,
that's fun.
Because as a fashion designer, I think like that, and she needs to look amazing, and I think she looks, she doesn't need too much help.
She doesn't need much help, and that's a part. You look great. You have a great style about you. That's for sure.
That day
You're beautiful.
we were tired. We just grabbed and we went shopping, and we bought some, some great
outfits.
Oh yeah, I got it ready already.
Well, I'll definitely want to see some pictures from the event.
I'm gonna spend
from the background
the rest of my life in the dress I'm wearing. Just trust it's gonna be cute. Just follow me, and then you'll see the dress. And then if it's ugly, you can unfollow me. I'm just kidding. Don't unfollow me. I'll cry. But
so how can our audience, find you so they can follow you and continue to see your work and your upcoming awards and your pictures, just so that they can know a little bit more about your life?
Yeah, so we have a website that's set to launch, within the next few months. But until then, I use Instagram and Facebook mostly. So Instagram, my handle is BAI_ALLI. And we're doing a lot of rebranding, a lot of building. I launched a brand new Facebook page for my music. It's called Bailey Dixon and the Burden of Proof. And I'm super excited, to see the page development in a short amount of time on that. But those are the best places, and sometimes you'll get exclusive content that you're not really going to see, like in an interview like this, And so y'all got it today with the song, but you get to see a lot more of my life and just what it's like. A day in it, and it's fun sometimes. So y'all come check it out.
And I'm tagged most of the time, so that you can like jump on me. So
what's your
mine is really easy.
Mm-hmm.
At Ramsey Petersson, PETERSSON, and then you'll see the logo with the wings.
Okay.
So.
Well, thank you, ladies, for joining us today. This was an awesome conversation. I really enjoyed speaking with you and listening to your how you started in the business and in the music industry, how you've evolved, how you've grown, And what I love the most about everything that you spoke about is that you can really sense the passion that you have for everything that you're doing. And I really do believe, and I see it in your eyes as I'm looking at you, that you really are doing something that you're being called to do. And I really hope that you keep that message and understand the importance of how you're delivering that message to the young girls
Absolutely.
and the young men out there that are going to be looking at you as a role model. Because you really are that person that can make a difference in somebody's life, and somebody that's hurting, and in somebody that can see, look at Bailey. She came from humble beginnings, and look at where she's at today. And look what an amazing woman and how beautiful she is. And that is how you can continue to give back to the world and give back to the youth. And I really hope that you understand what an important role that is.
Well, I sure appreciate all those kind comments, and thank you for having us on today. It has been a very, very nice time.
I can't wait to put this this interview out there. I think this is one of my favorite ones so far since we started the podcast. So thank you again. Thank you girls for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for watching with us.